Hey everyone, this is Pete. Welcome back to Atari ST A to Z, a series of short playthroughs of Atari ST games, some which I grew up with and some which are new to me. Today is one of the former. This is Klax by Atari Games, published by Domark on the Atari ST, I believe. So, Klax was a game that I always had a lot of fun with, and I had several versions of it in my childhood. I had this Atari ST version. I also had the Atari Lynx version, which was pretty much arcade perfect. The Atari ST version was less perfect, but it was still a solid port, and unlike the Lynx version, you could play to play mode and stuff like that. So this is one of those games I have pretty fond memories of because it's something that most members of our family enjoyed at one point or another. So, for example, my mum enjoys puzzle games, and so she would always like to play this. Often had to fight her to get the links back. But yeah, this ST version was the first one we had. We actually had the Atari Lynx version a little bit later. Now, the main differences between this ST version and the arcade and Lynx versions is obviously the sound is the main area where it suffered. So the Atari ST was capable of digitized sampled sound, but because the sound chip wasn't especially designed to do that sort of thing, a lot of developers just chose to use the built-in PSG sound chip, which was fine because it gave the ST versions a pretty distinctive sound to them. But it also meant they were kind of inferior to certain other ports of the game, particularly things like Amiga and console ports of the same game. So in Klax, you miss out on things like the sampled speech, sounds of the applause when you finish a level, all sorts of things like that. Also, the sounds of the blocks aren't anywhere near as good in this version either. So anyone who's played the original arcade version or the Lynx version will fondly remember the weird squelching sound the brown blocks make, for example. No sign of that here, sadly. So if you've never played Klax before, the idea is pretty simple. You have to make Klaxes, and a Klax is a line of 3 or more of the same colour, horizontally, vertically, or diagonally, and I fucked that up. Anyway, let's try that again. So in each wave in Klax, you have a specific objective to complete that involves making these Klaxes in some form or another. So in this wave, which often proved to be a sticking point for new players, you have to make diagonals, which, as the name suggests, require you to make 3 in a row diagonally. So not horizontally, not vertically, only diagonally. Which, once you get a feel for, is relatively straightforward, but still a bit of a challenge while you're still learning the game and the basic patterns you need to learn to take advantage of. You see, I've messed that up quite a bit there. So yes, let's try that again. I don't think I need to put my name in there. So, like a lot of arcade ports of this period, you didn't have unlimited credits to play. You couldn't just keep continuing and credit feed your way all the way to the end. So, in Klax, if I remember rightly, you have 3 credits, which isn't enough to get you very far if you're not very good at it. And as you can see, I'm pretty out of practice. I used to be really good at this game. I did actually beat it on the Atari Lynx, which is quite an achievement because there's 100 levels in total. But yeah, particularly boring car journey. Copy of Klax. All you need. Oh no. See, there we are. Game over. 3 credits. Now, like a lot of Atari games of the period, you could start at a later level if you wanted to, and that would give you a few advantages in exchange for simply starting at a more difficult stage. So, for example, here, if we start at stage 6, we're allowed 4 drops before the game ends instead of just 3. And if we finish this first level, we also get a significant score bonus, which is worth taking. However, you have to weigh that up with the fact that you are having to deal with more colours of piece at the same time. And all sorts of considerations like that. Oops. So yeah, this is a really simple puzzle game, but one that I've always liked. It's one that doesn't get as much love as some of the more established classics of the genre, like Tetris and Columns and that sort of thing. But it's one I've always had a real soft spot for. Probably because it was one of the earliest ones I remember growing up with. So it may just be nostalgia talking there. But certainly any time I boot Klax up these days, I still have a good time, so. I enjoy the level-based structure in this as well, because it gives it a bit of focus. It makes it quite difficult for you to get into an unwinnable situation as well. I mean, that can still happen, certainly, but it means that you can't finish one objective and then completely screw yourself over for whatever's going to happen next. If you can survive up until the end of a stage, then you're going to be able to make some progress, because it will clear the screen for you. Alright, let's continue. Nice. These flashing ones, as you might expect, these are wildcard blocks. And they can be used to stand in for anything. Sorry, I'm concentrating now. This is one of those games that, after a little while, you just sort of get in the zone and you find yourself focusing and getting really involved and invested in what's going on. Okay, so here's another different type of level. This is a tile wave. And so in this one, you don't have to actually create any Klaxes if you don't want to. The only objective is to survive a certain number of tiles coming your way. In practice, that means you are going to have to create some Klaxes to make space for the tiles, of course, but yeah, there's no sort of minimum number that you need to create or anything. I've made a mess. I made a real mess. Yeah, this isn't going to end well, is it? No. No. Oh, there we go. Ah. Last credit. So a lot of the ways will start with a kind of predefined arrangement of tiles at the bottom. You can see here we've got this this sort of awkward arrangement with a diagonal Klax set up for us that I've just blocked myself off from because I'm an idiot. Oops. And so it's often a good idea to try and clear that out of the way first before you start concentrating too much on pure survival. Oh no. Oh no, 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 no. Oh dear. Yeah, I'm not as good at this game as I used to be. Anyway, that is Klax. That is a cool puzzle game from Atari, Tengen, Domark, and probably a few other people besides. It is the 90s and there is time for Klax. So, thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you again next time. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please help out the channel by leaving a like or a comment and subscribing. New episodes of Atari A to Z are on Tuesdays and Atari ST A to Z on Thursdays. Check out atariatoz.wordpress.com for a full archive. Do please also check out my other projects moegamer.net, where I explore Japanese and Japanese-inspired games from yesterday and today, and videopackgames.wordpress.com, which aims to catalogue the small but well-formed library of the Philips G7000 Videopack computer, also known as the Magnavox Odyssey 2. You can also support my work on Patreon or buy me a coffee. You can find links to do both down in the video description. Thanks again, and I'll see you next time.